Welcome back, everybody. Stephanie Levinston, Intuitive Channel, welcoming you to Empath Academy, Class 4. So, a lot of you seem to have enjoyed day 2 with the quiz that we took. So, we're going to start today with another quiz. And this quiz is to help you determine if you are a physical empath or an emotional empath. And by the way, you can be both. And you can also be a whole lot of other types of empaths too. For example, Dr. Orloff talks about physical, emotional, intuitive. You can be an intuitive empath, which is broken down into telepathic, precognitive, a dream empath, mediumship, communication and access to spirits on the other side. You can be a plant empath, you can be an earth empath, you can be an animal empath. I think she even says you can be a food empath. So this is going to help you to have a better understanding, hopefully, into whether your leanings are more of the emotional variety of empath or physical. So let's dive in. You remember, all you got to do is give your yeses. Count up your yeses here with this quiz. I'll read the questions off, and when we're done, I'm going to tell you how to interpret the results. So all you want to know is how many yeses you have. So first, we're going to talk about physical empath. Have you ever sat next to someone in pain and started to feel pain yourself? Do you get physically ill in crowds? Have you been called a hypochondriac but know that your symptoms are real? Do you react to other people's stress by developing a physical symptom in your own body? Do you get energized by some people and depleted by others? Do you frequently go to doctors without getting treatments that help? Are you chronically fatigued? Or do you have mysterious and unexplained ailments? Do you often feel exhausted by crowds, preferring to stay at home? Is your body sensitive to alcohol, sugar, and processed foods? Okay, tally up your yeses. If you answered yes to 1 or 2 of these questions, you are at least a partial physical empath. If you answered yes to 3 or 4 of these, then you are a moderate physical empath. And if you answered yes to 5 or more, then you are definitely a physical empath. Again, coming from this book. All right, let's dive into the quiz for determining whether you are an emotional empath. Ask yourself these questions. Do you pick up on other people's emotions, such as anxiety, frustration, or anger? Do you get an emotional hangover from an argument or a conflict? Do you feel depressed or anxious in crowds? Can you intuit other people's feelings even when they are unexpressed? Do you want to fix people and take away their stress? Is it hard to distinguish other people's emotions from your own? Do you care so much about others that you neglect your own needs? Do you overeat to cope with difficult people or emotional stress? Do you experience mood swings from sugar, carbohydrates, or other specific foods? Okay, tally up. Tally up your yeses. What'd you get? How many? 1 or 2 means you're a partial emotional empath. 3 or 4 yeses means a moderate emotional empath. And 5 or more yeses means that you are definitely an emotional empath. So, emotional empath here. I don't resonate quite as much with the physical empath components, but the emotional ones I absolutely do. And I want to talk a little bit about this because I know that what I have learned has helped me immensely to support myself in navigating the energies that we can be bombarded by as empaths. So I want to share with you, I want to share some tools, I want to share some ideas and suggestions that I believe may support you in your journey as an empath. So let's talk about intuiting other people's feelings even when they are unexpressed. A really good example of this will be, say, for example, and this has happened to me, so it's actually a true personal example. I'll go out on an errand and I will run into a friend of mine that I haven't seen in a while, and we will exchange hugs and polite conversation. How are you? How are things going? And this friend might say, oh, I'm fine. Yep, everything's good. And you can tell from my facial expression and from what's in my eyes that everything's not good. And so you may be picking up on, or what I'm going to say is I was picking up on from this friend that something's not right. Something is not matching with her outer presentation, her facial expression, her body language, her voice, not matching up with what I'm picking up on. And I don't always know exactly what it is, but there is a disparity. And since we are able to pick up on the truth behind the scenes, behind the language, behind the words, it's not for us to second guess it, okay? Please don't second guess yourself. Trust what you're getting. That's the first step. I'm going to trust that what I'm picking up on is something. I might not ever figure out what it is, and it might not be important, but I'm going to trust that what I'm getting, that my knowing, my deep knowing is true, and something's up with my friend. So what I've done in the past about this is I have sent a text message to this friend afterwards, and I would say something like, hey, it was so good to see you and run into you in the store. I'm wondering if everything is all right with you. I might share with her, I'm picking up on maybe something's going on, and I want to make sure that you're all right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm picking up on nothing, or maybe it's my own stuff that I'm not clear about, but just checking in further. Are you okay? Do you need to talk? Is there anything I can do to support you? So now I've given her an opportunity. She can choose, and this is incredibly, incredibly important, to not push your knowing on someone else and approach them and say, now listen, it's me. I know that you're not all right. Something's wrong. I just sense it. I just know it. Tell me what's going on. That might come from a really good place for you, but I will tell you how it is received by many. It's intrusive. It can be perceived as intrusive. People have the right to decide if they want to get read by you and have you share what you are present to for them, or if they just don't. If they just want to be in their bubble, if they want to put out there that everything's fine and they just want that to be enough for right now. So honor that. Honor that. So in my text to my friend, I'm giving her that option. I wonder if I'm picking up on something from you. I might not be. Is there anything you want to share with me or anything that you need? And then she has her choice. She can say, gosh, you're good. Yeah, things aren't quite right, and I'm having some struggle with my spouse or my child, or I'd love to talk about this or that. Or she can say, no, I don't know what you're talking about. All is well and all is good. And then I must accept that. That doesn't mean I second guess myself and say, oh gosh, I messed up. I picked up on something that wasn't there. No, I'm going to trust myself. I picked up on something. It's just not my business right now to pursue it. And that is okay. So I encourage you to do that. Trust what you're getting. Another thing I want to talk about is this notion of it being hard to distinguish other people's emotions from our own. I've spent years in this space. I have spent years in the space of identifying with other people's feelings and beliefs when in reality those were not mine. And it took me a while to figure out that those were not mine. And then it took me a longer time to figure out, what do I do with that? I've been carrying that for so long. I've made that part of my reality, right? So what do I do with that? Well, you simply set it down. You simply, like it's a box or a brick or something you're carrying, you lay it down. And you allow for that to be the truth and the reality of those that you are in close proximity with, your loved ones, your family members, perhaps your spouse or your partner, but you don't have to carry that as your truth anymore. It's very freeing to release that. And you don't have to fight against it. For example, when I recognize that it's no longer my truth, I don't have to make a whole show of separating from my partner in this, well, this isn't true for me anymore, and I've been believing this for some time, but this is your issue and this is your problem. No, that's not very astute. But bless the belief, bless the energy, bless whatever it is that you've allowed to attach to you, and disconnect from it. These are my cord cutting mechanisms. I show this all the time in my workshops. This is how I separate my energy from external energy. And then I always bless that energy that I'm separating from, and I send it back to its rightful host. It's a beautiful practice. It's a very generous practice, and it keeps me free and clear. So clear yourself, cut the cords, cut the energetic cords, cut the beliefs that are not yours away. Bless them and send them back to where they belong. You do not need to be a host for these any longer. Let's see. Do you have a desire to fix people, to take away their stress? Empaths are very generous souls. Generally speaking, we are very generous with spirit, very generous of spirit, very generous in our desire to bring relief and peace to others. And this is a beautiful thing, this is a beautiful thing, and it leads a lot of us to the healing professions, right? Most of the clients that I work with on a coaching basis or through my channeling are therapists. They are in a healing profession. They are in a healing field. They might be energy healers. They are drawn to supporting and helping and healing others on their journeys. This is the empath superpower, people. This is the beauty of being an empath. We feel so deeply, and because we feel so deeply, we have such a deep desire to support and love and assist others on their journey. This is a good thing. When it becomes problematic is when we are out of balance with it, when we are so far in the direction of being on call for others and being a constant source of support for others, that we are not routing that internally first. First, you. I can't say this enough. First, you. Go within, route that loving, healing energy to you first, primarily. Then what you will have available to others, whether you are a therapist or a healing professional or in any area of life, with your career, with personal life, with your relationships, then what you will have when you are on the place of being fulfilled and of having routed loving energy within first, you have extra. You're not giving you're not dragging up whatever crumbs are left from within you. You're not efforting forward and delivering and delivering and delivering to others. You are allowing the overflow, there's the word flow in overflow, to reach those that you most want to impact. And it's not going to leave you depleted because you have already taken care of yourself first. Please tune into your needs. Empaths, 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 we must get better at tuning into our needs, getting clear about what those needs are, and then ministering to them as a priority. You must be the priority. You are not going to be the priority for anybody else. You might be here and there, but it's not going to last. You must be the priority for yourself. You must place your needs at the top of the list and tend to them. You must gain your solitude. You must find your quiet time. You must go to the deep listening, meditative practice. You must tune into music if that's what sources you, or art, or any creative pursuit. Get in nature. All of those balanced ways that we honor ourselves, that we replenish and resource our energy. Do that for you. Do that every day, in big ways and in small ways, but do it, because then what's available to the rest of the planet is so glorious and so expansive that you will be delivering in a much more powerful way than you could have when your focus is always on the external, always in service to others. Alrighty, how are we on time? We are pretty good. So I think what we're going to wrap up with here is this notion. She also mentions in the book something that I think is really powerful, really important, which is that addiction is much more common commonly experienced by empaths. And this can be food addiction or addiction to drugs or alcohol or anything, exercise. There's so many ways that we manifest, that addiction manifests itself. And because empaths are such tender souls, because we feel so deeply and we are so highly attuned in various ways, there is this need to find a bit of a break from that, right? We can't always be so open and receiving and raw to what is going on, especially at this time on the planet. It's very dense. There's a lot of discord. There's a lot of angst. There's a lot of upsetting, just heartbreaking things going on around the globe. And so we cannot be this sponge to continue to absorb and soak up all of that. What we do instead, what a lot of people do instead, is to reach for something that creates a little bit of distance from that, a little bit of numbing from that. And addiction does have that capacity. If you're reaching for alcohol to create a numbing effect so you don't feel things so intensely or quite so deeply, that's not healthy for you. Addictions to food, to relationships or sex or anything like that, not healthy for you. Remaining in this balance, and it is a fine-tuning, right? We're not always going to be in balance, and it would be unrealistic to expect that of ourselves. But when we find that we're a little bit too much in the service direction to others, then we balance it out through self-care, right? And so it's always this gentle gliding back and forth. And when we hit this space right in the middle, it feels amazing. And there's powerful replenishing energy that takes place right here, right at the equalization point. And then naturally we fluctuate back and forth. So for those that are struggling with addictions or know what I'm talking about and this resonates with you, you are not alone. Access the help that you need, the support that you need. Know that you are a beautiful and glorious and needed soul on the planet, and that there are many ways for you to bring yourself back in balance, and that you don't have to numb, that there can be ways of replenishing and replacing energy for you that does not involve chemicals or activities that ultimately bring harm through addictive behaviors. I'm going to end with that, and I look forward to seeing you all in future Empath Academy classes. We are going to be diving into parenting. We're going to be diving into relationships. We're going to be talking about ways to use these empath gifts beautifully so that you can be your most expansive, glorious self, just as you are meant to be. Lots of love.